The moon shone faintly in the cloud-laden sky, casting unsettling shadows over a world teetering on the brink of collapse. Diana, the warrior from the Masira, watches the divided human world but cannot look away from the growing threat. Clark, distant, questions his connection to the planet he now calls home. Barry feels the energy coursing through his veins, a constant reminder that he can make a difference. Their journey begins with a union forced yet necessary. At that moment, the first sign of the center appears on the horizon, a vortex of energy and chaos, a primordial entity consuming everything in its path. Diana summons Clark, Hal, Barry, and Jayon for an urgent meeting. Hal, a newcomer to the role of Green Lantern, hesitates to take on the responsibility. Jan, with his alien wisdom, offers a cold analysis, while Barry, with youthful optimism, tries to rally the group. The tension is palpable, but the danger cannot be ignored. When the team finally faces the center, the scale of the threat is beyond anything they imagined. Diana leads with fearlessness, but the creature seems immune to brute force. Clark intervenes to save endangered civilians, his morality tested with each decision. Hal struggles to harness the power of the ring, his doubts weakening him. Barry fights to keep pace, while Jayon watches, calculating. The initial battle ends in failure, leaving the group on the verge of emotional collapse. Back at their makeshift base, the group confronts their inner demons. Diana questions Clark's commitment as he continues to wrestle with his dual identity as both human and Kryptonian. Hal seeks advice from Carol Ferris, but finds only more doubts about his capability. Barry finds solace in Iris, his source of hope. Jan, ever distant, begins to feel the weight of loneliness in his existence. Despite this, they decide to try again, as the alternative is unthinkable. The second confrontation is more strategic, yet still devastating. Diana and Clark combine strength and intelligence to distract the center, while Hal uses his ring's power to create temporary barriers. Barry uses his speed to rescue innocents, while Jayon attempts to penetrate the creature's mind. The battle ends in a stalemate, but not without casualties. Each hero bears scars, both physical and emotional, realizing that victory will only come with sacrifice. As they regroup, internal fractures begin to deepen. Diana confronts Jayon, accusing him of being emotionally distant and unable to trust. Clark, under pressure, defends the Martian, but is challenged by Diana regarding his own lack of commitment. Hal, watching from afar, decides to prove his worth alone, embarking on a risky mission. Barry, exhausted, tries to keep morale high but feels the weight of responsibility growing heavier. Hal confronts the center alone, attempting to use the power of his will to destabilize the entity. He nearly succumbs, but his bravery inspires the others to come together once more. Diana arrives in time to save him, her lasso of truth glowing against the darkness. Clark, finally committed, joins the fight with renewed determination. Barry uses his speed to dodge the creature's attacks, while Jayon coordinates the team with precision. The final battle unfolds in an apocalyptic setting, with storms filling the sky and the earth trembling beneath their feet. Diana leads the frontal assault, using her strength and strategy to carve a path forward. Clark, at her side, bears the weight of saving an entire city while fighting the creature. Hal and Barry combine their abilities in a risky maneuver, while Jayon finally finds an emotional connection with the others, fighting as part of a whole. At the critical moment, Diana is injured but continues to fight. Clark uses his full strength to hold the creature at bay, while Barry races across the battlefield, risking his life to deliver the final blow. Hal, overcoming his doubts, uses the power of the ring to contain the center, allowing Jan to execute one last psychic offensive. The combined effort finally defeats the entity, but not without significant losses, both physical and emotional. With the center destroyed, the team gathers to reflect on their bittersweet victory. Diana, still injured, declares that unity was the true key to their triumph. Clark, more confident in his identity, admits he has finally found a home on Earth. Hal, exhausted but resolute, vows to continue learning. Barry, tears in his eyes, mourns the lives lost, while Jayon silently expresses gratitude for no longer being alone. Diana proposes that they remain united, not as soldiers, but as a symbol of hope. Clark agrees, emphasizing that the group must serve as a beacon of inspiration, not just strength. Hal hesitates, still uncertain about his place on the team. Barry, with his usual enthusiasm, promises to always be available. Jan, in a rare moment of vulnerability, accepts the proposal, recognizing he has found something more valuable than solitude: belonging. As the team begins to part ways, signs of a new threat emerge on the horizon. Diana, watching from afar, feels the weight of her choices but remains steadfast in her determination. Clark, flying into the sky, reflects on what it means to be human. Hal, aboard his ship, looks at the ring on his hand, promising to do better. Barry, running at full speed, smiles at the sight of Iris, while Jayon gazes at the stars, determined to protect his new home. The city begins to rebuild, inspired by the heroic acts of the team. Monuments are erected to honor the lives lost, but also to celebrate the victory. Diana, leading the ceremony, speaks about the importance of unity in times of adversity. Clark, standing beside her, serves as a quiet symbol of hope. Hal, still somewhat apart, observes with curiosity, while Barry and Iris share a moment of relief. The city begins to rebuild, inspired by the heroic acts of the team. Monuments are erected to honor the lives lost, but also to celebrate the victory. Diana, leading the ceremony, speaks about the importance of unity in times of adversity. Clark, standing beside her, serves as a quiet symbol of hope. Hal, still somewhat apart, observes with curiosity, while Barry and Iris share a moment of relief. The Justice League is formed, not as a perfect team, but as a symbol that even in a divided world, unity is possible. Diana holds the lasso of truth. Clark flies toward the horizon, and the others follow their own paths, knowing they will return if needed. Beneath it all, there is a silent promise. As long as there is darkness, there will be light. Earth is no longer alone, and the fight for hope continues.